there, Tina Vanderwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I am here with Dr. Gianleo Duca from Ballston Spa School System. He is the superintendent, so we're going to chat a little bit about what it takes to run a school district. So, hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So thanks for having me.
Sure.
And so I know Tina from Rotary, which is something that I've been involved in Ballston Spa for I think 4 years.
Okay.
And it's just just part of the community, and I think that's one of the things that I love best about this community is the tight knit group. And kind of giving back, and so that's something that I like to talk about with our students and our family, and just community engagement, giving back, kind of that service. That's something that I highlighted as the high school principal, for the past 5 years, and a couple of years before that as an assistant principal, and now in this role as superintendent. So definitely one of my big philosophies is to make sure you're giving back to your community and taking care of the people around you.
Right. So you've worked your way up from assistant principal. Were you ever a teacher?
Yeah, I taught for 15 years, 5 years right outside of Boston at Medford High School.
Okay.
And then I moved to New York 2006, and so I was 10 years at South Colony. So all 15 years as a social studies teacher, mostly high school. My last 3 years I did a few classes as a 7th grade teacher. So definitely secondary education, 15 years before coming to Ballston Spa to be an assistant principal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
where have you seen, since you were the assistant principal and so on, now superintendent, have you seen a lot of growth in the school, or kind of what do you envision the school should be?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in my role at the high school for a bunch of years, we definitely improved our opportunities for students, different pathways to graduation, working in a lot more career and tech ed programming for our students, while also exposing them to, AP classes, advanced coursework, college and high school, which is really popular. We just had a student graduate this past year, and she had so many credits that she only had to take 3 credits next year to get her 2-year degree through Hudson Valley. So just having those partnerships at Hudson Valley and some of the other local colleges, but more on the district level in the past year, making sure that we are providing those opportunities to students from K all the way up to grade 12. Whether it be in curriculum or extracurriculars. Malta last year, their PTA they did just a really great play. So we want to bring that back this year and just kind of expose our kids not only to just sports but also music and the arts, and making sure that we're kind of bringing enough things to all our kids and families.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because so many districts, they focus on the sports,
Sure.
and then they get rid of the music programs and art programs, but it's really, in order to make a well-rounded student, person, you have to still allow for all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, we do well in sports, but also I think this is the 7th year in a row that we made the list of America's top music communities. So we're a really robust music program, and also with troop and launching pad for the middle school. It's just the arts and the theater and plays and musicals, and now we're starting to branch into some of our elementary schools with that, and just gives kids something that they want to be part of outside the classroom, and that's really what it's about for me and the rest of the district.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important too, I know, or I was taught that schools are really focused on getting kids into college, but there's so many tech, like you said, tech or just the trades, really, that we need people in construction and engineering and not engineering, electrical, plumbing, all of those kinds of things. So do you have those kind of programs as well?
Yeah, we do. We send a good amount of students to BOCES, wish-we BOCES to pursue trades. Usually right around 70 or 75 per year the last few years. That's kind of where it's been around. But we also have a lot of in-house programming. We have a pretty robust construction strand where we have a construction site out back of the high school, in between really the high school and the baseball field, full construction site where our classes go in and they'll demo an old trailer, and then they'll build a tiny home. So the different classes go in there, and they're all part of, like framing, and the electrical, and the plumbing, and the outside, the sheathing, and the roof, and so each
Wow.
class kind of takes a part in it, and it's usually about a 2-year kind of turnaround between when we get it, demolish it, and then build it back up to a tiny home, and then we work with community partners, kind of donate it. So that's probably it'll probably happen at the end of this year when we complete it. But that gives kids an opportunity to get some real world experience. We also have a pretty robust communications program at the high school. We took an old computer lab and converted into basically a TV broadcasting studio. So we have a lot of different students, not only with the interviews, but on the back end with the editing and sound and kind of making sure that everything is working. And so we're trying to expand that into not only just our weekly show, but also going out and doing interviews and recording different games and extracurricular activities. Our business program, it has I believe 28 like residencies, so like internships.
Okay.
So we partner with a bunch of different businesses and companies in the area to kind of give our students a taste of what it's like to be in a sort of profession. And 2 and 4 year schools are great, but that's not the answer for everyone. So we want to make sure that we're providing career and tech opportunities to our kids too.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's a great. I didn't realize you did all the construction stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think there may be a handful of kids that want to go into trades, but they just aren't sure.
Yeah.
So in order to take these classes and then be able to actually build a house, that's really cool.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then they'll be able to do that.
Yep.
And then you mentioned at the beginning that you're in Rotary, as am I, but you have the Rotary group for students is called Interact.
Interact, yeah.
So we have a pretty good Interact club
Yep.
in the high school.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that program?
Yeah, I mean that's expanded over the past couple of years, and so those students and advisors go out and they work with Rotary, and sometimes it's the Christmas trees. Last year we did a really successful with the barbecue, the barbecue chicken dinner. So
Brooks
that
barbecue.
Yeah, Brooks barbecue. Thanks.
Delicious.
But they're always looking to find little projects where they can just help the community, and so they continue to work to expand that group. But really, it's all about service, and so something that we don't just want to have just with Interact, but I mean that's a good starting point. We try to expand that out to all the different clubs and activities.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we are obviously the Rotary is involved in Interact, but yes, having so many different clubs and all different kinds of opportunities. If somebody had an idea for a club, like could they just start one, or they go to a teacher? How does that
Yeah, I mean, you check with a teacher or an administrator, assistant principal, and then that's something that we have added different clubs over the years based on student interest, and I know that's something that the new high school principal, Mr. Robinson, is really keen on.
Yeah.
He wants to definitely add a couple clubs that he thinks students will be really interested in, but really it's going to be the student driving force, especially for those clubs and activities. And it's not just about the actual club, but it also teaches kids leadership skills, pulling together the different fundraisers. You have a student treasurer who understands kind of balancing the books and making sure that everything on the financial side is good. So they're just all good learning opportunities for our students.
Right. Great. Is there so obviously mostly it's involved with the community of Ballston Spa and Malta, people that live in the district.
Yep.
But is there, like, if somebody wanted that maybe doesn't have a student in the school but maybe wants to help, is there some way that they can also participate?
Yeah, I would say I would reach out to the high school, our student government at the high school. They have a couple big events obviously for the year. They got kind of around homecoming. We do the street fair, which has been pretty successful. We started that before the pandemic. It went away obviously but then we brought it back last year. And so that takes place right in the bus loop, right before the homecoming game. And so there's a lot of local businesses that set up shop there and just kind of, interact with different community members and family members. So that's always a good opportunity for folks to get involved. And so I think that they're always looking for, people that way. So that's definitely an avenue for folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good. All right, anything else you want to talk about Ballston Spa?
No, we're about a week away from
Yeah.
from school starting.
Yeah.
And I'll be presenting goals and priorities to the staff, and then our next board meeting is September 6th, where I'll kind of present goals and priorities to not only the board but the community.
Yeah.
And I think that we've worked hard to try to find some pretty cohesive goals that kind of bring in the community,
Yeah.
focus on making sure our students are having the best opportunities, making sure that they're as successful as possible. So I'm just excited to get going. Happy to, whenever I get a chance to talk about Ballston Spa and then the school district, I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful for the continued opportunity to kind of lead this district.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me, Dr. Duca, and I am Tina Vanderwerker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.